This all starts with a side eye in a meeting, or perhaps a small but rude comment said to you at the gym, which then launches you into a spiral. Anger, frustration, shame, embarrassment, you name it. You have not only just been derailed from what you were doing, but now it takes you hours and hours and hours and hours just to bring yourself back to baseline. But by that point, your day is already lost, which is also one of the more frustrating things about this. Now, what most men try to do is stop that initial hit from coming in, but it's outside of your control and it's a battle you are going to lose. The real secret is not in trying to prevent the trigger, but in reducing the length of your burn rate. This entire process has 3 phases: your activation, your burn rate, and your recovery. The activation is what someone said to you. Some circumstance happened that really bothered you and affected you, and it launched you into a spiral. The burn rate is everything in between. The ruminating, the sitting, and just maintaining that boil until finally you rest into recovery, which is your baseline of what you were before. But now you're completely exhausted and fatigued because of it. Another way to visualize it is, this is the activation point. You get launched into it and you hold it steady until finally you gradually bring yourself back to rest. So the burn rate is the length of time between the hit and your recovery. Now, why do we stay in this period of time for so long? It's something that people often ask me. And what I always tell them is because there are 3 habits that everybody does. Sometimes one, sometimes both, sometimes all 3. And once you can know what they are, it's going to bring you such clarity and understanding. And then most importantly, the power to control it. Now, the 3 habits that keep you trapped in rumination. Number 1 is mind reading. So you essentially have an avatar in your head of the other person. And inside that avatar, you create an imagination for them about what they're saying about you. They're calling me a loser. They're calling me weak. That's what they're thinking. And it's so crazy because it's something I've done for a very long time and we could be so convinced of it. But the honest truth is, the only mind you can read is yours. And you leave it at that. Because if you continue on with it, you will believe it. And that's what's the crazy part. We know in actual fact, if you're talking to someone, they say, I read minds, you'd be like, that's stupid. But the brain can't tell the difference between imaginary and real. So if you sit there and you go in this mind reading stage, the state, then you will start to believe it. So number 2, fortune telling, predicting a dark future. Oh, now every time I go to the gym, I'm going to have somebody say something. Or every time I now go back to work, people are going to be gossiping about me. It's just essentially you are now giving yourself a prediction as to what is going to happen, and it always seems to be negative and terrible. But one thing I realized over the years, especially because when I was growing up, I was bullied pretty heavily, is if it's a maybe, you do not own it. Are they speaking bad about you? Maybe. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Are you going to be deemed a loser when you go back to the gym the next time? Maybe, maybe not. If it's a maybe, you do not keep it. Naturally, when you try to own it, what do we typically do? We typically lean it towards the negative, the side that actually takes away our masculine power. Or you actually swing it into delusion. They're both delusions. But you can also swing it the other way and say, no, they're actually thinking I'm amazing, I'm the hottest thing ever. Everyone just wants to look at my bicep and touch it. But in reality, they're both off the mark. So remember that one. This one made a dramatic difference in my quality of life and the health of my mind, which is just, if it's a maybe, let it go. It doesn't even matter anymore. Number 3, identity cementing. So essentially, you are cementing yourself in a prison. I am a loser. I'm always going to be ignored at meetings, or I'm never going to get this promotion. That's just always been my life. I don't get what I deserve. And this becomes reinforced because of our history, the life that we've had, the upbringing, the dynamic between our parental figures, our authority figures, community, all these things kind of conglomerate together, form them into a story and a narrative that are used for survival, obviously, right? They're there for us to protect, to make sure we don't get hurt, and that's fine. But what happens, we don't ever address them as we get older. And they linger and they stay. And every time we have these situations, we start to actually cement it more and more and more, even though it doesn't serve you now. And so your identity is not defined by uncontrolled circumstance. You cannot control what other people are going to say, what they're going to do, or anything of that nature, but rather your interpretations. Dr. Jill B. Taylor, a Harvard neuroanatomist, whoever made that word, I swear to you, discovered that when a person has an emotional reaction, there is a chemical surge that lasts exactly 90 seconds. So what that means is, once that first hit comes in of the emotion, 1 minute, it runs through and it flushes out. After that, it is us. We maintain that burn. We keep feeding and fueling that fire. And now that you're understanding what the burn rate is and what comprises inside of it, making us ruminate for so long, now you need an actual process on how to actually shorten that time. And I'm going to do that through my own protocol. And this will provide you that sovereignty you are looking for. Very quick, before we continue, down below I have a link to my waitlist for the Sovereign Brotherhood community. This is for the men who are sick and tired of where they are in their life right now. They're subject to their mind, their heart, and their confused intuition. And you're looking for a system that's been battle tested by me first before I've now given it to other men to see great results and success in their own life. And what that looks like is internal governance, no longer dominated by their shadow, being able to integrate all aspects of themselves. This way they can move forward in their life with peace, clarity, internal certainty, and the pursuit towards meaning and a higher calling. If what I just said is resonating with you, click that link down below, read the information on the page, and join the waitlist. So my protocol to shorten the gap of that rumination starts with pillar number 1, posture. If you are hunched, curved, hands like this, just feeding into that emotional state, it is only going to add to it. You're engaging further and further in this rumination. Your vessel can directly impact the emotion that you're feeling and the thoughts that you can be having, or rather the lack of thoughts. And so if at least when you're in that state, carry yourself a little bit taller. You don't have to be like Superman, posture. Just make sure you're not having the emotion carry you that entire time. Number 2, or pillar 2, is rejecting the dance. This is the biggest one. Think of the rumination, form it into an archetype. It could be any form you want. And this individual is coming up to you and asking you to dance. But when you grab their hand, now you are stuck in that limbo. And so it's very important from the very beginning that when these are coming up, that you do not engage with it. Do not run into the theater of your mind. The way I like to always think about it is it's a blimp in the sky. Once it's going across, I look at it, I see it, but then I let it pass. You're not trying to resist it. You're not trying to shut it out and pretend it's not there. You are simply building that resilience to be able to see it, but not partake in what it wants. Pillar number 3 is lengthen your breath. When you're rapid breathing, it's like you're a gazelle, like you're a hunted animal. And so your body and your physiology is going to assume you're in threat. And so it's going to keep everything running and going. So by deepening and lengthening your breath, it actually sends a signal to the brain that starts to say, okay, well, things are all right. I'm safe. It's fine. I don't need to be stuck in this danger zone. We're okay. And so the longer you can lengthen your breath and run through that routine, the better you are going to feel. Number 4 is stillness. In other videos, I call it centering, the ability to be inside of your frame, connected to that deepest part of your soul, that inner self. And the way I can define it more simplistically is being inside of absolute silence, no phones, no TVs, no distractions, nothing. You are simply just in the present moment, building awareness of what is going on around you. Accessing that part of yourself, that deepest part where it feels abundant, endless, loving, powerful, is only accessed in stillness. You can't access it any other way. And it doesn't actually matter which order you do any of these for. You can do it any which way you want. But how it always has to end is by you just keep on keeping on. Live your life. Once you go into this posture, you have all these pillars lined up in the way that fits for you, go about your day. Go pick up your kid from school or just go to work. You can't wait for it to pass. Because if you wait for it to pass, it's an act of engagement because you're paying attention to it for too long. And so once you do these pillars, you get up and continue on with your day, making sure you stay in that place of stillness, you keep your length of breath, you reject the dance, and you maintain your posture. Now, what's really important is when you first start doing this, it's not going to work right away. And that's just the honest truth. It's not. But do not allow that to discourage you. Do not allow that to prove that you're a failure, because if you start doing that, you've now created a whole other pattern now. You've now activated something else, and now you're ruminating on that, and you're now creating just layers and layers of it. You simply just show yourself some grace. Forgive yourself for it. It's all right. What's most important, I actually didn't put it on the board, is efficiency and consistency. That is what you're aimed for. Your goal is to be efficient. If your day of burn is 10 hours in rumination, you bring that down to 5, dude, that's insane. You now have 5 extra hours of energy stored to put it towards something that's actually going to be of good service to not just your own life, but the people around you. And so you got to also measure success differently for every single person. Do not relate or compare to anybody. A mantra you can say to yourself whenever you blunder and you find yourself starting to get into it again. I say this to myself. I missed today. Think of it as a target you're trying to shoot. I missed today, but I will hit the target eventually. And that is the absolute truth. If you stay with it, you will shorten that burn rate. Absolutely you will. I've seen it time and time again. If you aim for efficiency and you aim for consistency, you will get it. And you will reduce that time. And obviously, it'll never really just be fully zeroed out. You're still a human being, right? We're going to have, there's variables involved. But you will now, over time, begin to notice you get hit with uncontrolled circumstance. You feel the emotion. You feel the hit, but the length is almost barely non-existent. And once you start recognizing that, the power that's going to come inside of you, that feeling of sovereignty, that you are governing yourself, no longer being whipped out of frame, is absolutely priceless. However, you can disable the activation. Have it not even bother you at all anymore. Therefore, you don't even have to go into any of this. But how do you do that? Well, that's going to be for the next video coming out on Thursday. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. This way you get notified for it. And in that one, I'm going to go into my other framework to actually figure out what is going on there and to shut it off. Thank you very much, everybody. Don't forget, down below, either join my newsletter if you want to just get an introduction into my framework and my system for sovereignty, or if you're absolutely ready, you're sick and tired of the situation, join that waitlist. It'll be absolutely worth it because I also have perks for the first 10 that join the community.